Podcast City Network. The Everett Lee Show.
Welcome to another episode of The Everett Lee Show. I'm The Everett Lee. I want to give a shout out to everyone that follows me on social media: Facebook, Everett Lee Show; Twitter, at The Everett Lorescore Lee; Instagram, Everett Lee; YouTube, Everett Lee. And of course, Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. You can follow Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net. Hit them up on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and Twitter at Podcast City Net. And here we are on a special Thursday night here on the Everett Lee Show, right here on Podbeam Live. So tonight, I have a great guest lined up. He's waiting in the green room right now. I want to welcome to the Everett Lee Show independent filmmaker Christopher Annino. Did I say that right?
Almost. It's Christopher Annino, but it's all right. I've been called worse, like late for supper, so it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. What is, if you don't mind me asking, what your last name? Where's that? What nationality?
Oh, we're from Antarctica, and when the iceberg fell off, we ended in Plymouth, and that's when we started.
Okay.
But if you want the real story, I believe it's from Italy. It's I'm Italian, and I think I'm Irish. So
everyone has Irish in them, man. I have Irish.
You have to, especially in St. Patrick's Day, which is coming up, or already happened. I'm not quite sure. Did it happen?
No, it's coming up next week in the middle of the week. You know, actually, March has two holidays. I consider March having two holidays. You have the day before St. Patrick's Day you got 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. Then you have March 16th, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. So you can carry Stone Cold Steve Austin Day on March 3rd month,
3/16, yeah,
into St. Patrick's Day. So the party never stops there.
I don't know if you ever saw, but like on Mad TV, they would have Will Sasso, and he would do a spot-on impression of Stone Cold.
Oh God, yeah.
You sassing me? Are you sassing me? And I love how he's talking like that. But man, yeah, I like Stone Cold. He's a funny guy. He should do stand-up, you know.
He has some great stories. I know he does. I know he has some great stories.
I don't like it when he's tame though on his show, and he's like, "Welcome to the Stone Cold Broken Skull podcast. Let me tell you, when I was friends with Gene, like, why? I want to hear it when he's mad and angry and calls someone a son of a bitch and stuff like that's fun." But
yeah, he's gotten mad. He's gotten mad on his show. He got mad when he had the Stone Cold podcast on WWE Network. He got mad when he was talking to John Moxley, who was Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose didn't really give him anything to go on for a conversation.
It was that one, and he did one with CM Punk, but I don't know if that was like staged or not. That, and there was another one when there was Paul Heyman was on the show, and again, to me, it felt like it was a setup.
Well, the one with CM Punk, that was all a shoot to promote the what is it, WWE
video
2K?
game?
Yeah, that's all that was there. They ad-libbed it there, which was great. They nothing scripted, nothing talked about. They just went with.
I don't think it was, but they knew what was going to happen. I feel like it was
premeditated.
Yeah, I think Vince was like, "Well, we gotta press this a little bit more, there, buddy. We gotta, I almost sound like the skipper from Gilligan." But anyway, he was like, the sales are going down. We have to have something happen with the two of you, so just push it. And I think that might have been it. But who am I to judge? I don't know.
Yeah,
there's no feuds right now in wrestling. There's just like,
no, not really. I mean, there was AEW this past weekend. They had they had a really good pay-per-view, and to me, match of the night was MJF CM Punk, because that told a great story, what was going on into that match, and a big turn for Wardlow for turning face and turning his back on MJF, which was fantastic. It was great storytelling right there in the ring, and just all around right there. It captured that moment, I believe.
Problem is that I hate the moves. I hate the transitions, and it just looks too scripted. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I saw this one match. I'm not going to mention the wrestler's name. I kind of want to. I might. I'm not gonna. Well, it might give you good. It might give you good ratings. So
anything.
Yeah, there's this one wrestler that just shouldn't be on the roster at all, and like they're only there because of they fill a gap that really isn't being utilized to the full potential. But anyway, that individual. A great example, whip to the corner, and then why are you whipping to the corner? Stop, and then why do you then run? Why don't you just whip to the corner and then run? Why are you stopping? Like, that's what kills a match. That's what kills everything. And like, if I was back in the ring, oh my God, I would potato the crap out of someone. Like, why ruin the match? Just go for me. Like, I mean, you whip me to the corner. Don't wait. Just go. I mean, whatever. What do I know? I'm not even there. So, like, they're making good ratings and whatever the heck else and money. But to me, it's their wrestling is going to be okay to a certain point, and then there's going to be like the issue with Cody is this: is he officially with WWE now?
They haven't said anything if he was or wasn't. That's the thing there, because apparently it's a work. No, he is going back. Money was the issue. Why would money be an issue? He has contracts to fulfill on TBS with the Going Big show, and then his Roads on Top or whatever the hell that show is there. But why would you want to go back to WWE? Because one thing, Vince McMahon, whatever how you are and how you present yourself, and when you leave, you come back, he still looks at you the same way. Like Christian.
Yeah.
He went over to Impact, became champion, did a lot. And then when he came back, he still was Christian to Vince. Same thing with like Drew McIntyre, Drew Gallows, and some.
It's also a different type of style of wrestling for TNA and AEW. I mean, honestly, if you're the WWE heavyweight champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the best of the best. Okay. And he's like that for a reason, because there's only a handful of WWE heavyweight champions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I was booking WWE, no offense to like what you just said, I wouldn't put Christian in main event. I wouldn't put Cody in main event. I'd probably put him as a good mid card. I would also put him as a good IC contender, and maybe even tag. And it's no disrespect to them. They're great in-ring workers, but do you see a lot of people wearing his t-shirt? Is he larger than life?
Right.
It's like Stone Cold still sells t-shirts. John Cena still sells t-shirts. I mean, and physically John Cena isn't bigger, but he's got a bigger persona and he's got a bigger everything. Like just it's just his way. Everyone believes in him. Like even Hulk Hogan. I mean, The Rock. I mean, all those guys. Bret Hart. Christ, you believe them. You believe them more. Like it goes back to belief.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes did this one match. He did a backflip off the top of a giant cage, landed, was bleeding all over the place, and then he got up as if nothing happened. That's not believable. He could probably do those moves phenomenally, but I'm not going to buy a ticket to see him. Okay.
A lot of people are not a fan of Cody. They're not a fan. I mean, they're more of a fan of his father, but
yeah, Dusty's good.
Yeah,
I mean, but that being said, it doesn't mean that I'm right either. But to get into Vince McMahon's brain, okay.
mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, well, he's this, and he treats them. Yes, I'm not for how he treats wrestlers. If those are true, I mean, it is true that he treats them like independent contractors.
Right.
They don't have insurance. They don't have unions. So that to me is not favorable. But as a creative genius, he's a genius. Has he had flops? Yes, he's had many flops.
Oh yeah,
Gobbler was one of them. But the personas he's created, I mean, he shaped our childhood. The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Heartbreak Kid. I mean, he made Bret Hart. If Bret Hart didn't have Vince, he would be nothing.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the time too, mid '90s, who was really invested in WWE because everybody left, so he had to use what he had right there to make stars like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I mean, 60-man Iron Man match that was great. Yeah. But my one of my favorite Bret Hart.
It's the greatest to me. It's the greatest match ever put together. Everyone's like, "Oh, Macho Man's versus whatever Steamboat." That's a good match for a WrestleMania. Probably a great match for a WrestleMania. But the greatest match of all time would definitely be the Iron Man match, or even if you go a little bit further back, I mean, the Lou Thez versus Vern Gagne matches were great, but no one or the dog collar match versus Valentine and Piper. I mean, that was legendary. Or Snuka versus God, was it Morocco or was it Snuka versus Backlund? Snuka versus Backlund.
Yes.
And then there was another match, Backlund versus Bob Backlund versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. Valentine clinched the title for like 2 seconds, the heavyweight title, and then they were like, "Oh no!" And you know how Gorilla Monsoon, "Oh my God, someone double counted. What's just wrong? We have to." Gorilla would do these funny, like, for some reason he can only pull it off. If you said it or me saying it wouldn't work. Hit him right in the breadbasket. Who the fuck says that? You know, like, but it works for him. You know, we can't say it really cool. Hey, hit him in the breadbasket there, Everett.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna sound like dorks, but like he can. And then like Jesse's saying, "I don't know, Gorilla. I think I don't know. It's called tactical aromatics. That's what's going on. And I'm for the bad guy. And you know, and then he mocks the other guy, and he's, I think Hogan. He's the smell-o-mania. That's what it is. And then like they then banter back and forth for a good 2 minutes because they know they need to fill some time in because there's nothing else to talk about.
Right.
And you know that was great. You know, like, you know, and Gorilla saying, you just hush yourself up. We're trying to enjoy the match here. But really, he was in the back of his head. He's like, "What the hell else am I going to say?" You know?
One of my two favorites was Gorilla and Bobby the Brain Heenan. I love both of them. And then I liked on Saturday Morning Superstars, Roddy Piper. He was my favorite, man.
Piper was good, but the mistake they made was when they had Piper, Macho Man, and then they had Vince, all three of them. And it was like, you know, Piper wouldn't shut the fuck up. He's like, "Yeah, I just, oh my God, there's a," and then Macho's over there like, "You don't know what's going on." And then Vince is like, "Well, Jess, I mean, sorry, Piper, what are you playing?" You know, he's all playing it straight. You know, deep down he wants to flip. And then like, you know, like 95 happens. He has a midlife crisis, and this and broadcast Vince McMahon turns into, "I'm just joy." You know, that's how he is.
Yeah, definitely, man. But I did enjoy the Attitude Era because they had competition. They had WCW and they had the change, and some great stuff came out of the Attitude Era.
I don't. Here's the thing, though. I don't think they had. I think he already bought that. I really do. See, again, everyone thinks there was an actual feud type of thing. even with ECW. And again, we have to think like everyone's like, well, Vince is a horrible person. Well, maybe, but he's a freaking genius.
He's a businessman.
I think this is what he realized. Exactly what you said in the 90s. They were fucked. They had nothing. So I think he said, okay, well, I'm going to take ECW and I'm technically going to own it. And then he works a deal with like Heyman, and he's like, Heyman, I want you to cut promos knocking us, but I'll give you some of our talent, but the fans won't know. And then like, Turner didn't take it serious. He didn't. He's like, I'm a wrestling promoter. No, you're not, Turner. Shut the fuck up. You're a billionaire, and that's it. Just shut the fuck up. Probably Vince was in his back pocket, and he probably owned part of it. Just like my whole theory on like AEW and WWE right now. And Gary Wolf actually said it first. Is one of the people I'm working with. He said he thinks that Vince probably owns part of AEW because it's like so much WWE talent going over there. Notice, and I don't think they even know. I think they're just like, oh, well, I'm away from Vince. No, you're not. Once you're in Vince's clutches, you're there for life. It's like a gang. You can never get like Hogan still works with Vince, but no one really knows. I mean, that's Vince is wrestling. No one can deny he's not. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do pro wrestling and make it, you're gonna, it's like the Hell's Angels. You just, you don't mess with them. You don't mess with Vince, and they most motorcycle gangs, they pretty much rule the world, not the world, but they rule the road pretty much. And so,
right.
I believe the comparison is it's just basically, everyone's not convinced, but I would try to tell all of them, like, don't, because you might need to get hired by him again, because this thing may not last. And, it's not Attitude Era. Everyone's under the false impression where it's like, oh, did you guys see AEW last night? Oh, my God, it was so great. Oh, my God, it was so great. But in Attitude Era, they're like, did you see Shawn Michaels mooning everyone? And just stupid things like that. He didn't even have to wrestle half the time. That's what made it. It was the shock factor. But then they went too shocking because they're like, okay, let's do a triple backflip and light my ass on fire, and I'll land in a teacup, And then it was just like, what can you do after that? And then Bam Bam Bigelow's kind of like, he's trying to do like more moonsaults. He's already 400 pounds, so it's kind of like, is that going to work anymore? Like, everything's the problem with all of it is it's just too rushed. Just enjoy. I mean, if
there was. I watched Dynamite last night, and there was a couple things that I was.
There's nothing. Honestly, there's nothing innovative to it. It's just they're doing. It's American wrestlers trying to do Japanese wrestler moves. But the Japanese do it way the fuck better than us because they started doing that at the age of like 7 or something.
Right.
So, or they try to do luchador moves. Like you have these, it's going to sound whatever. You have these pale ass idiots trying to like do like legit lucha moves, and they kind of do it, but it's really, really sloppy. And like a guy like Psychosis who would just go full force and just, he was a true art. When Psychosis went against like Rey Mysterio in WCW cruiserweight days, those were very special matches, and just because it was, I mean, they're legit trained. Whereas like, these other guys, they do that thing where they do their move and they stop for a minute and then they do it again. With Psychosis and WCW Rey Mysterio, it was go.
Yeah.
And every move made sense because it would be closed in, so it would look like you're going after the guy. And what's his name? Rob Van Dam versus Lynn,
Jerry Lynn.
Great matches he did. Yeah. I loved those matches. But that being said, like if Rob Van Dam went against like Bret Hart, probably wouldn't be a great match because, I mean, he's got a lot of, Rob Van Dam's a good high flyer guy and does more of the Japanese stuff. And, I mean, would it be like a 5-star match? it would be good. It just wouldn't be like epic, you know.
Right. Right.
You know, and Backlund versus Brett, that should have been a way better match than it did. But then Vince was like, "No, let's put Backlund in some sort of crazy man gimmick," and it didn't work because like Backlund is a great wrestler.
He is.
They could have stretched that a little bit longer, but
Right. They could have. I liked the Iron Sheik challenge. That's what I liked about it. The Iron Sheik challenge, and the Sheik didn't like it when Backlund, showed him up there. I thought that was great.
Well, and Sheik's a legit tough guy, and like the tag teams are like shit right now. There's no good tag teams. It's like the Usos won the tag team champions for the 20th time, and
did they?
Great. Who knows?
Because I don't follow WWE. I don't follow it at all.
Nobody does because there's too many belts. Like, you win a belt back then, that meant something. Now it's just like, well, he's got the 24/7 championship, which anyone can now win.
Yeah,
apparently. Or Attitude Era. I liked it when they had the European Championship.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I was a senior in high school when the Attitude Era was really kicking in and stuff. That's what I remember, because that's when I got back into it, because there's two periods in my life where I didn't watch it, and one of the periods was through 87. It was 87 to, I believe, 87
92.
to 90 87 to 97. I didn't watch it because I mean, I had friends that watched it, and I watched it here and there when I'd go over to my one friend's house. He'd watch Saturday, morning superstars. That's, when I found out about like when Hogan and Taker, when they introduced Undertaker and he beat Hogan and won his first WWE championship. But then
I got a quiz for you, by the way.
Okay.
Who is Undertaker's first opponent in WWE?
He debuted at Survivor Series.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, he debuted at Survivor Series. You got me on this one, man. Because I not only know his first opponent, I know him personally. Mm-hmm.
His name was Mario Mancini. And Mario Mancini is famous because he wrestled for WWE. There's several things he's famous for. One, he wrestled for WWE at the age of 18 years old. He was one of the first to ever get like an 18-year-old. He was as an 18-year-old getting in there. He, I think he like won match.
Mm-hmm.
I lost pretty much most of them. Very similar to like Barry Horowitz. And after he got out of WWE, he became a lawyer, and he's now a promoter for Paradise Alley Wrestling, and that's in Connecticut. And he's teamed up with Paul Roma, and he had the Undertaker's first match ever.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
I know that originally Undertaker was supposed to be called Kane the Undertaker, but
yes,
they did a goof up when they announced him, called him the Undertaker, and it worked out because later on they introduced the character Kane, his brother. That was a great story there with the Undertaker.
And they interviewed Mark about that, and Vince always had that idea. See, again, it goes how creative Vince actually is. He always has these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like when that happened, he probably put that idea to shelf, and then when he found the right person, who ironically was Isaac Yankem, right? It was he did that Dennis gimmick. That was you got to start somewhere, man. When you're doing that there, I like the story where he was talking about when it was right around the Survivor Series when he was about to debut, and he thought that he was going to be Eggman because of the giant egg, the goobly gobbler. Remember that? It was that one, and it was also he was afraid he was going to be singing in the shower, man, or because Vince would ask, what do you like to do there? And Mark was, I like to sing in the shower, Vince, and he was just kidding. Yeah. And then he realized, oh shit, I'm going to be the singing in the shower guy. And then, of course, Vince was probably, that's a good one, though. We could use that once. Because he's done every gimmick.
He has garbage men, hockey players. I mean, Repo Man.
Yeah, in the 90s, everyone had a job because they had to,
Yeah, they had to, man. They had to. I'm surprised they didn't come out with crossing guard guy or something.
They had a fucking pirate, and I still couldn't believe that. That was
yeah, the pirate. Remember the Goon? Remember the Goon? Remember
the Goon?
him?
It was Steve.
Who was it?
Wrestled in World Championship Wrestling. I can't remember Steve something. I can't remember, but he was like a champion over there, and like he became. And then they had my favorite actually, and it was short lived. Was Man Mountain Rock, aka Max Payne.
Yeah,
because he actually was playing his guitar in that ring. So and I got to meet him, and it's weird because I met him at this signing. I'm not going to mention where, but I kind of want to mention where. But anyway, I met him at this signing. You got all these handlers at the signing, and they're all dealing with talent and stuff, and they get so territorial. They're like, "Whoa, he's mine. He's mine. Better not touch him." So I'm like, "Hey, can I just ask him a question?" "I don't know." And he was so cool. He's like, "Dude, he just wants to ask me a question. Calm down." It's like this is a blonde kid. He looked like he was playing Dungeons and Dragons his whole life. then he leaves, and he's like, "I'm going to tell on you. You're asking him questions. I don't want you to ask questions. You're not." I'll fucking buy I'll buy an autograph. I just want to ask him a question, jackass.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I hate that.
I want to be more of a prick to people now because honestly, like they're such weird, bizarre motherfuckers. Because they're like, they'll buy someone for a day and be like, "Oh, he's mine for a day. You better not talk to him. He's mine, my property, mine." That's how they are. Fuck it. And if there's any promoters that are like that, fuck you guys. Okay.
The fandom. Tell you what happened. Me and my best friend Dion. He passed away in October 2020. But a couple years before that, a mutual friend of ours. She was into the anime cosplay type stuff. So she was doing this thing. They had this event over on the beach side. They were trying to compete with MegaCon in Orlando. So some group of, guys decide, hey, we could do a MegaCon, but we'll do it here on beachside Daytona. So she told us she had a booth there, table, and she was selling some stuff that she made. She showed us some stuff. We're like, hey, that's pretty great. I'm going to be here this weekend. Oh, okay. We'll swing by. We'll say hi. We'll check it out. No biggie. So we get over there to the Hilton. They didn't tell us you got to pay to park. And I'm like, I got no damn cash. I got a card on me. And there's a line of cars behind me. I'm like, you're going to have to let me through, dude. The two things going to happen. One, I'm going to go through this gate. Two, you can lift it up and I can go through it regularly, or I can break it. What's your choice? And so he's like, yeah. Just park over here. I'll let you park. I'll pretend I didn't see you. I was like, good answer. So we park, we get out. So we walk into the lobby there. We see all these people dressed up and stuff, and we're not used to this at this, especially my friend. He's looking around and he's like, dude, man, what the hell? I was like, this cosplay. This is like, the geekdom of what you can think of geekdom. So we're walking in there, and there was nothing that directed us to. You had to stop at the table, and you have to pay, and you go over to the room, and you can walk in. So we're looking around and stuff. Nothing says anything. Pay here. So we started walking towards that room. There's this big, heavy set kid that looked like he lived in his basement forever.
Yes, and they do, too.
Yes, dude. He
Those
had
little fat bastards, they do. I'm not even kidding you.
Yes, it was. He had a staff. And we start walking, and he goes, tickets. We're like, tickets? I was like, we don't got tickets. You need tickets. I was like, well, no one told us we need tickets. And he's like, over there. And I was like, Well, no one told us about tickets. And he goes, tickets there now. And I looked at him. I said, you know what, Gandalf? If you don't take it down a notch, I'm going to take that staff. I'm going to shove it up your ass sideways, and you'd be shitting out spells for a week. he like weird back, and he just like almost got in the corner, you know, with his glass of soy milk, and was like this. And I was like, my friend Dion's like, come on, let's get out of here. I was like, yeah, this ain't worth it, man. So we walked off, man.
You know what's weird though? They don't have to be that way.
Yeah,
you know, they could be nice and just say, hey, you know, like honestly, you have your tickets. The problem with them is when they get a position of power. See, because probably most of their life, you got to think of it this way. Let's take that situation for a second. Probably most of his life, he was probably talked like shit the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So like. Someone like that is actually so like people probably bullied them, so like they then become a bully,
right?
And that's the thing you kind of have to see them for. And I'm not saying what you said was wrong or anything, but I've been there and done that, and you know I've kind of
me off, man.
dealt with people like that, and then I realize because the reality of it is, and there's one person that I know that goes to these Comic Cons all the time. And, you know, they're really not a big celebrity. I mean, they're not really a celebrity at all. They had like a guest appearance once, I suppose.
Right.
Hey, it's more than me, than whatever. Well, not really, but so to speak. Whatever. It's whatever. She got a. I might as well just say it. But anyway, she's known for like one scene in a film or a show, but I'm not going to mention who. And basically what happened is like she started getting bookings at these Comic Cons, and it's this inflation of one's ego.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a booth, I have a booth, right? But you paid for that booth, okay? And, well, I'm on the poster because once again you paid for it, but that's fine. And then even if you didn't pay for it, okay, that doesn't mean. It doesn't mean you're any better than anyone else.
Right.
And the people that legitimately have made it aren't like that. No, I know people. I spoke to Iris Kyle, who won more Miss Olympias than anyone. Really nice person, kind, you know, didn't speak down to me. I've also spoken to bodybuilders that have never won anything, maybe like a regional, and they're like the worst human beings you can ever talk to. So the person who's won it the most and is more successful is a lot more humble than the one that has probably had less experience or less success. So that little Gandalf guy there, the little garden gnome, whatever the fuck he is. I'm going to highlight to you what's going to happen after. He was fat, right?
Well, he was
overweight. So there's several things that's going on with this fucker. Okay, he probably has a bad attitude, right?
Yeah.
He probably smells. Okay.
Yeah.
When he gets home, he probably again is probably either in his mother's basement, his father's basement, or a basement. Okay, this dude is not living a luxury life. But when he goes to these Comic Cons and he's known amongst his fellow volunteers, and they're volunteers and not getting paid for it, he's seen as a god amongst them because his minions are worse than him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in charge of the door, so he was the god of the door there. He can decide who goes in and who doesn't. And oh man, I just
was he the gatekeeper?
Yeah, he was the gatekeeper, man. He was about
he went full Rick Moranis on you.
Yeah, he was about to get the size 11 foot of Everett Lee. That's what he was about to get, man. I was gonna shove my foot up his ass, not in his ass, up his ass so far that he had to move the shoelaces when he brushed his teeth. That's how pissed off I was, dude. I was so pissed. But then Dion, thank God, because I mean, with I have characteristics from my father, and I was just almost about to go to that place I didn't want to go to, and Dion reeled me back. He's like, "Ain't worth it. Let's go." It's like, "Yeah, let's go." So we walked off, and that was that.
I'll tell you a quick story if you want to hear it.
Okay.
Okay. So my first ever Comic-Con was the Rhode Island Comic-Con. And if you guys ever have a chance to go, don't. Okay.
Don't.
Because honestly, it's like basically it's like we're going to put 1 million people in a room and there's no moving room and whatever else. It's not like a great experience. You feel like cattle, and pretty much, I mean, if anything ever happens, like God forbid a fire, it really is a fire hazard. I would never want to go to anything like that. Even if I was invited for a free pass or whatever, I would never want to go to the Rhode Island Comic Con. I've been, and like an Alzheimer's patient, I keep coming back. But no, it's not really a good experience. So anyway, my first experience was at Rhode Island Comic Con, and the first famous person I saw there, I've seen many famous people,
right?
But there was David Yost. He played Billy from the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say hi. I thought, well, he seems nice. He wears glasses, you know. Because the Red Ranger looked kind of intimidating, you know, and the Green Ranger was there, and he does MMA. He's got tattoos everywhere. So I'm like, I'm going to talk to Billy first, because Billy was always a good guy, and he was quiet, and says words like prestidigitus and all that stuff. Anyway, so like I'm there. I'm like, hey, Billy, how you doing? I just got this camera here. I just wondering maybe I can do a small interview for my cable access show. And he looked at me as if I was a piece of shit and says, who are you? And I said, I just want to interview you if it's okay. He's like, yeah, but you're not anything mainstream. You're gonna have to talk to my manager, which apparently was his lover. And then back in those days, 7 years ago, I was a little I didn't give a heck what I still kind of don't, but I kind of he directed me to his manager, and then that was like the first like rattle, you know, the tail, you know.
Yeah.
And then his manager is talking to me as a professional. He's actually very professional. Mm-hmm. And then David Yost, then jumps in. He's like, yeah, I don't think he's legit, and I would rather deal with somebody who's international. And I snapped, and I said to him, listen, you little fuck, okay? No one likes you, okay? Even on the show, no one likes you. The reason why I went to see you is because I felt sorry for your fucking ass. And then he said, security. So then I'm like, oh, I got to go. So then I left, and I had a coat on, so I took my coat off, and security comes, a bunch of guys who look like, you know, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And, like, again, it looks like maybe your guy was there who was at the gate with his Gandalf stick. So anyway, I go to the next row, right? And the lady who plays Catwoman is there.
From the Adam West, right? You're talking about.
Yeah, but there was three. This one was a Miss America, Lee Mayweather. I think it's Lee Mayweather.
Yeah.
And she said, and her daughter was there, who's also a stunt woman. Really nice lady, and they were so kind to me. They were like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said something because he was mean to me, and they gave me a big hug. It's like, "Oh, well, do you want to take a photo with us?" And I'm like, "Yes." And there's a photo with me wearing a long overcoat with Lee Mayweather and her daughter. I think her name's Leslie. I'm please forgive me. I'm just having some brain fog here, but really nice human being. And
yes. You were Lee. She was Lee Mayweather. That's who. Mayweather. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's who it is. And I just pulled it up here.
Yeah, and her daughter, and I later met with her daughter afterwards, and I thanked her. Hey, that really was nice of you that you were nice to me, and I always remembered that because she was so kind. And you know, you don't have to be a dick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And for any famous fuck that's out there, especially wrestlers, if you're a jerk to someone, and let's just say they by accident make it and win an Emmy or Grammy or whatever, they'll remember your ass for that. How was what's his name? Cody Rhodes made. Cody Rhodes was made because uh, the owner of AEW is a fan of his, and he was always nice to that fan, and that fan made him the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be a jerk to people.
Yeah, you treat people nice. Like
Just treat people well. You don't have to be
I
mean.
met the actor. I met the guy from The Flash at the one year I went to MegaCon in Orlando here, and he was nice to me. He was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Hey, pretty cool." And I was talking to him there for a minute, and he's like, So what are we doing today? We do an autograph or we taking a picture?" I said, "How about take a picture?" He's like, "All right, let's do it." He was so like happy that I, came up, and he gave me five minutes of his time, which was great. We took a picture. I thanked him, and I thanked him for what he did on the show. And he says, "I appreciate that." He was a great guy. Came off really great. Wasn't like, "Hey, how you doing? What are we doing today? All right, stand here. You enjoying yourself? All right, good. All right, bye." Nothing like that. He took time to kind of chit chat with me a little bit, which meant a lot to me when I talked to him.
See, you're given a lot of power. Like when you're famous, I mean, I'm not famous, but I've been given some power with some stuff that I've done.
Yes.
And when you have that, anything like that, the problem with a lot of them is they don't realize like they would be nothing without anyone else, and there's still nothing without anyone else.
Right.
They're only on paper and like in the news for now. They're famous. Okay, so say next week, I don't know, Joe Schmo is the multi-Grammy award-winning gibberish rap recording artist, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about next week he then treats all of his fans like shit, and then the week after that, and then he spirals out and can't come up with another hit.
Yeah.
Well, they'll remember that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they'll there's a lot of celebrities that are bitter and they're mean and they go to these Comic Cons just for the payday, and which is fine because when you're doing art, you have to take it serious and perfect it. But if you're like an actor, right? I'll just understand it's not going to last forever.
Exactly.
And if you get like a role like Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, then fucking take it. That's what you're known for. That's it. You can go to all the schools you want. There's like a lot of these actresses and stuff that I know. I'm going to mention one because I don't like them. Because this one dipshit, her name is like Beth Campbell, and she's like local around here in my area. She's like, I went and I was doing this and whatever else. Oh, and there was another one that I met recently, and she's like, I was with the Groundlings. I'm like, does it mean anything? Are you actually good? I mean, like, if you were kind of with them and like whatever, I guess you are, but if that's your claim to fame and you've not done anything with it, fine. But meanwhile, like someone like Beth Campbell, she'll go to. I read her resume once. I thought it was this. She said skills. Under skills, she says good with animals. Okay. Can handle a conversation. Like you can't. What the fuck? Floral arrangements, and then she puts down the list of people that trained her to act. Dude, if you have a list of people that have trained you to act, You're not an actor. Like, either you can do it or you can't. Here's the script, okay? I want you to read this, and you're going to play a bad guy. But do it your way, okay? Okay, fine. Do your interpretation. That's all you got to do. Then everyone's like, well, you're demeaning what we do. No, because it's that simple. And if you can't do it, then you shouldn't be an actor. And if you think it's difficult, then you shouldn't be it. You're either it or you're not. Okay, you're either born with it or not. Is it a skill? Is it a talent? Yes, it is. Right. We don't take it that seriously because it's not going to last forever.
Right.
Like, learn something. A good actor is somebody who is as constant is a student of life. Okay, So Harrison Ford is a great actor because he was also a carpenter. So he knows how to work with his hands. He understands what that is. He could play a better role than somebody who got out of acting school. And by the way, for the record, fuck acting school. If you're going to go to college, don't go to college for acting.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't go to college for film. You can learn a majority of this shit either on YouTube or just do film, just shoot. That's how you learn. These idiots, they'll go to college. I'm being taught by, I don't know, they'll name drop Martin Scorsese's teaching my class. He's not going to hire your fucking ass because, you're learning from him. I mean, you may learn some things here and there, but he learned by just doing and getting denied and all that stuff. That's what makes a great director. That's what makes a great actor. You're denied. You then improve. That's it. No coach can teach you that. No teacher can teach you that.
Mm-mm. No, that's like
and all these. Yeah,
that's like I was since you brought that up there, I want to bring up Lollipop Gang. The movie that you've been working on. I mean, you haven't released it yet though, but you have. Me and David C. Russell, I do want to say David C. Russell's listening in tonight, and he says, hey, he says, tell Chris hello, I'm listening right now. Tell him I said what?
He better be ready for his role, damn it.
I did watch that episode when you were on Deathmatch Wrestle podcast, but
did you?
Nice. I enjoyed it. I definitely did. But me and him watched the Lollipop Gang trailer, and we were
the new one. Yeah,
the one that you sent, the one you sent us, the one you sent.
Well, I got a brand new one. I'll send you the new one so you can see it.
Okay, I'd definitely like to check that one out. But the one you sent us, we watched it. We were dying laughing. We're like, wow, this is great. This is great right here. And when I seen it, after I seen it, and then after what you said on David's podcast about what you just said to me here, or you just mentioned, it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, how fun has it been, or interesting has it been for you making that movie there?
I'll tell you the cliff notes, and I'll tell you the in-depth stuff. I don't work with actors. I work with people. I'll start with this. I do not work with actors. I work with people. Okay. I hate actors. Okay. No offense. And if you're an actor, hey, that's your issue. But like, actors are fake. They act. That's why I like working with pro wrestlers. I like working with veterans. I like working with anyone the fuck else that's not an actor, because guess what? We're all celebrities in our own way. And that's what we got to remember. You don't need to go to acting school to do something. If I say, hey, you know what, Everett, I got a couple lines for you. Want you to try it out. Whatever you do, don't think. Just do the lines. You'll be a great actor. You want to know why? Because you don't think about it. You just do it. So, like, I'll give you an example. Angel was my first. Eventually, what I'm doing is I'm actually going back to college. I got accepted to Western Governors University, and I'm going to going to get a master's in education. Angel was my first student. So when I met her 3 years ago, I met her at Evan Ginsberg's 350 Days, that documentary, which is a great documentary.
Yes.
Hi, Evan. Thank you for everything, Evan. Evan's like God to us.
Yes, I love that documentary. It's amazing.
I love him. So anyway, he's been kind of like a guide in us, and then Angel at that point in my life, I kind of wanted to stop filmmaking, and I kind of wanted to stop a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing with Angel and I is we help build each other. Okay. And in a way, she kind of acted like a muse.
Right.
And she tried to say, you can do this, you can do this. And then I started teaching her how to act. In wrestling, you kind of know how to act, but it's different for film. Cinema is a different form of acting. You have to be more disciplined with certain things. Just fine tune certain things. And actually, you're then the perfect actor if you already have pro wrestling training. So anyway, it was a very long process. However, I had her. You also have you can't, like, I can't have her play someone that she's not, okay? Because then it's not going to be a good performance. So I sized her up, and I'm like, okay, well, she is funny, she's quirky, she's got some of this. So with her, there was a role that I was trying to write in, and again, this is how I understand how Vince thinks. He needs to find the right guy to play the Undertaker. I needed someone to play Shelly Nunchucks, and Shelly Nunchucks is a real person. And God, I hope she is listening, and hope she goes on some rant and gets upset and sends me another cease and desist, because you know what? This film is the truth. This film is the reason why it's considered funny. And again, funny is opinion. If you like it, I appreciate that. And that means a lot to me. Some people may not think it's funny, but what I try to do is preach the truth. In this film, the story is people try to be things that they're not. And I'm basing it on Rhode Island and where I live. People in my town try to be things that they. One guy was like a club owner, and he wanted to be a gambler and a mobster, and that's what it's based on. And Angel portrays Shelly Nunchucks better than Shelly Nunchucks. It's so uncanny, the physical comedy she's able to do, and the execution of what that person was, because she did do her homework. And her name, we based it on Shelly Nunchucks Finnegan, and she was an ex of mine. And I said to her, so when I knew her and she moved in with me, I said, so why is your name Shelly Nunchucks? And she's like, yeah, because I'm going to be an action star. I'm Jackie Chan. She's obsessed with Jackie Chan. And I'm like, well, did you do martial arts? And she's like, yeah, I did martial arts. I'm like, well, what like rank are you, or what style? And she's like, capoeira. And I'm like, they don't really use nunchucks in capoeira. It's a good martial art. Right. Wouldn't be one that I would choose because it's not very effective. It is, but it isn't. There's flaws. I like traditional martial arts, which I do partake in. Currently, I just got my blue belt.
Congratulations.
But it's something that's not really practical in actual battle. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I was like, all right, show me. And she had nunchucks with her. Well, show me your nunchuck skills. And she's trying to do it like this and whatever else. She hits herself in the head. I'm like, you're not an action star. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, I was kind of sarcastic with her. I'm like, did your parents tell you could do anything? And you think it's one of those things like, oh, Timmy's gonna he's gonna play for the Red Sox. You'll see. And then Timmy wakes up one day and he's 25 years old. He's sleeping in an apartment. His pizza boxes everywhere, and all because he thought he was going to be a Red Sox catcher. You'll be a Red Sox catcher if they need a catcher. Okay, you'll be an action star if you're an action star, not if you go to a million fan fests. And that's kind of the basis of this character. I love this character. I love writing for this character, and Angel and I have discussed this. And she does have a busy year this year, but we are going to be shooting more scenes with her, which we're going to be shooting with your friend there. And we've I like this character because there's an innocence about the character.
Right.
She's incredibly innocent. And Angel and I worked on these films while we were doing this, because it was like, when Angel and I were together, we were like a 1-2 knockout punch with the films that we were producing. Like we were just every month I'd be up in Jersey and we'd be shooting something. We'd be coming up with this and this and this and this. And believe it or not, it was incredibly creative. And we had some phenomenal shoots. We had some bad shoots too, but anything we ever shot, we're actually going to use. Like the bad shoots, I wanted to try and do like a kind of like a Batman, but like Adam West Batman superhero film. And when we shot it, I thought it was going to be a little more serious, and it looks like shit. So the only way to make that work is, all right, Angel's going to play the Shelly Nunchucks character, and that Shelly Nunchucks character is going to be in this film. Right. And that being said, I'm saying this for a reason. If you shoot, always try to recycle what you have, because you don't know if you may or may not use. Always save, and if anyone's a filmmaker out there, always save what they got, because you don't know if you might even do it. Like say you shoot a film and your friend Fred's in it, and Fred passes away. Well, Christ, you could then do a documentary for Fred's family and say, hey, you remember when Fred was on this set? It didn't make it in this cut, but it was like 10 minutes of him, I don't know, playing guitar or something like that. Always right. Archive your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is why I'm going in the more of the documentary format rather than like actually making film. And again, it's the magical thing with me and Angel and with her was we shot like 43 films.
Wow.
In 2 years. Short films, feature films, music videos, 43 projects at least.
Right.
And then created a New England Music Hall of Fame. I mean, it was uncanny what the heck we did. The thing with her and I right now is it's like when Bret Hart was with Jim Neidhart,
Mm-hmm.
It was time for them to just get broken up. Well, it's not really a good comparison. I don't know. It's like when Dean Martin was with Jerry Lewis, I guess. I don't know, but less ugly. Well, I don't know. We've had some. Her and I argue over stuff, and it's more of a creative argument. I'm like, look, let's just put this shot here, and she's like, no, Christopher, it doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense. Why are you questioning me? And then see, a third person would see us and they're like, oh my God, they hate each other. And we don't. We care about each other and we love each other very much. It's just like we literally will argue, but as we're arguing, we actually are creating as well.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that, including her friend Joy. And she gets all like, why are you two arguing? It's because we're creating, Joy. Okay, go in your corner. Go. But what we do have, man, is this. Angel has one of the best performances, one of the best female performances I've seen is by Angel Orsini.
Right.
By best comedic female performance I've seen in a long time, because she put her whole self into that character. Mm-hmm. And again, she was never trained as an actress. She didn't go to acting school. There was no, she didn't go to NYU and get a whatever. But she's a very capable individual who, in the end, she actually really impressed me, because I really didn't think she could pull it off. Because it's hard to do a role that's a comedic role.
Take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive more into the conversation right here. But first, there's a couple things I do want to mention. Keep up with the latest shows and content from Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net. Follow them on facebook.com/Podcast City Network, Twitter @PodcastCityNet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Podcast City Network, on Twitch, Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Whether it's a sticker for your car, a t-shirt for that special someone, or a neck garter to keep safe during COVID-19, Podcast City Network has you covered. Grab the latest PCN gear today at podcastcity.net/shop to show your support for your favorite show or shows from Podcasting Network today. Want to start a podcast trying to grow your current show? Podcasting Network is here to help. We currently offer services for social media advertising, marketing, live stream hosting, custom logo design and branding, transcript services, custom intro and outro videos, audio video editing, press kits, one-on-one consultants, and much more. So don't wait. Contact us today. podcastcity.net/services. Head over to the website, fill out the form, get in contact with Podcast City Network. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you already have a podcast but you don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn how to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consultant services, tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross promotions, guests, and overall reach while becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Fill out the contact form below right here over on podcastcity.net/join now and sign up today. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Pulled up the cast right here. And yeah, Janine, one of the original Glow girls, man. I mean, that's great. You got her in it, and you even play looks like you play a role in it too as well. And I'm just going
Yeah, so basically I'll tell you the truth on it. There was an actor. I'm probably going to catch heat for it, but I don't care. Any press is good press at this point. There was an actor who was a very promising lead male actor in this, and his name was Joe. He's still in it, but Joe has potential. And if you are listening, Joe, you have potential to be probably one of the best. But the problem with Joe is, he lacks. It's not talent he lacks. He has great talent. He's got perfect, impeccable timing. He lacks confidence in himself.
right.
The last shoot we did, we shot 45 scenes in one day. 45. Wow. That's usually you shoot 3. It's 3 scenes in one day. We shot 45. And I was like a drill sergeant. Let's go. Let's do it. But I also knew how far I could bring some of these people. Now, Joe is talented enough to be a great leading man and great supporting too, but it's just, he brought his friends and he treated it like it was a day at the park here, and it's not. We're getting down to business, and we're working, and we're creating something here. I don't want your fucking friends there, dude. Don't ever go in my fucking set with your goddamn friends and have a party and whatever else. Yes, you can bring people that you're working with and stuff, but it is focus time. Afterwards, you can play all you want.
Right.
But I treat this thing very seriously because it's my name on you. It's my name on everyone else, and it's my name on the project. And if it sucks, I get the win or I get the loss. Just like a pitcher or a goalie, okay? They're going to remember the horrible game that Randy Johnson threw. They're not going to remember his great games. I mean, they will, but because he was such a great fucking pitcher. But they're going to bring up, for every great game, they're going to remember the time he went against Larry Walker and he kicked his ass. And, it's like, yeah, they're going to remember that stuff. So, and I am a perfectionist. Jeannie Bassan, though, was and is a very underrated and underappreciated actress. And talent, she has more talent than Jeannie Bisson has more talent than anyone I've ever worked with, by far. And I've worked with a lot of people. And I wish that someone I hope with this she can get discovered with anyone, because honestly, great personality, speaks very well, articulates, good with people, and can make anyone look good in a scene by bringing their potential up.
Right.
And all around, just great. I mean, looks, obviously she looks great. Jeannie Bisson is probably the MVP of that film, honestly, because she was able to take this film, because mentioning the lead male actor, we had to write him out because he was just becoming difficult on set. And that happens. It sucks. It's I'm not going to pull punches. I had a lot of faith in Joe, but Jeannie was able to save that film, and I owe it to her to say that flat out. And I mean, multi-talented. She makes soaps. She does a lot, and she was the original Glow Girl on all the seasons, and she was even on the pilot episode too. And she's wrestled for NWA. Her and Cheryl Russo, so her her opponent who's in it makes a cameo appearance, and it's kind of fun. But Cheryl just plays Cheryl in the film. She doesn't play a role. She plays herself, and
right.
we make fun of things. We make fun of we don't mean to make fun or hurt. We're doing a reflection. Like, there's a lot of podcasts out there that aren't good, and they're the same mundane questions, whatever else. And I knew this guy. His name was I might as well just say who the heck's who and who inspired what. Unfortunately, it's for the negative. But like, the guy had a Loki and the Jabroni show. I think it was Loki and Jabroni or something.
Right.
And they had like a really weird podcast. It wasn't professional. It was very whatever. And so in the film, I make fun of people who have like lame podcasts. Like, anyone can have a podcast. You and I have spoken about this before, but it takes a lot to have a good podcast. Okay.
It does.
So in this film, I pretty much, it's showing the truth. It's like, the other thing that inspired it was The Emperor's New Clothes. Emperor's New Clothes. Everyone was kissing the Emperor's ass and whatever else. Oh, they look great. He really is walking around naked. And then some guys, like, the kid's like, "You're naked," and he's like, "Oh," and the truth hurt, because he thought he was like, "You look cool."
Yeah.
But that's literally what this film is about: big fish, small pond, and people who enable each other, thinking that they're better than they actually really are. And that's what I'm kind of exposing. Just be yourself. That's the whole thing. Yes, it's a comedy and stuff, but there is a wholesome message, and that is just be yourself. You don't have to be. If you're a plumber, be the best plumber you can be. If you're a cashier, be the best cashier you can be. Okay? And there's no shame in that. If you're a coal miner, if you're like, dude, I don't care who anyone is. Honestly, I'm not friends with a lot of actors or film people, or really artists for that matter, because half the time they're not talking about real things, like superficial things. Very few artists that I'm associated with, they're a little bit more realistic,
Right.
eccentric in their own way, but they're still good, kind people. That's who I like to talk to, and that's who I like to hang around. That's who I like to involve in things. I don't do fake,
Right.
The veteran who's on the street and needs a coffee, I'll buy him a coffee and we'll talk. Why not? I don't want to be famous. If I win an Oscar, I don't give a shit.
Right.
If I win an Emmy, I don't care either. Trust me, I got all these awards over here, so. Oh. I
Yeah.
don't need any more, man. like they don't mean shit in the end. I mean,
Right.
you lead in this.
You just enjoy doing it. It's something you love to do. I
I
get
just
it.
like to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I don't like lying anymore. And like, um, I think that's why I'm going the documentary route because, even with the Circle Champions film,
Yes.
with all these women that are now involved with it, they get to have a voice.
Yes.
They
That
get to
was
tell their story.
that was going to be my next thing I was going to ask you there, Christopher, about documentaries. Since you're on the route on we're talking about documentaries and filmmaking. Yeah, Circle of Champions, the history of women's pro wrestling. I heard pretty much what you described on David's podcast, but on this one here, let the listeners and viewers know what this documentary is about, because it's the thing I find fascinating about it is how long you've been working at this. That's what I find neat about it, because
It's been about, give or take, 12 to 15 years.
it's a long
And
time.
originally it was just about women's wrestling, and now it's evolved into how women are treated in society. And obviously, what we metaphorically use wrestling to show what they have to go against, because also all these women that are just in mainstream society, they need people to look up to, like Wonder Woman or Wonder else. A lot of them look up to your Wendy Richters, your Jazzes, Medusa, China, Luna, Sherry Martel. They all look up to people like that. And that's very positive. So if it could turn it into a positive, and again, originally I still was shooting for a while, but I didn't want to release it as a wrestling film, and I still don't. I don't think it should be a wrestling film.
Right.
It should be a film about inspiring other women, because there's very few heroes that women actually have. Like even comic book heroes, you got Storm, Wonder Woman, like Black Widow, Supergirl, and like Batgirl, and they're just knockoffs of like Batman or whatever else, or Iron Man. So it's like, it's like that's what's also, to me, I hope I can do that right. Not only that, but originally it was just me shooting it with Mike Majelnik, a cinematographer out of Monroe, Connecticut, who's probably the greatest cinematographer you can ever work with. And then I realized there needs to be a women's perspective, and I don't care about sharing the glory on this. And so I teamed up with Kathy Steele, and she is the drummer for Sister Funk, who is a phenomenal band. They are great. And then Catherine Kramer is going to be on the soundtrack with Sister Funk, along with Urache Sfidete Waller, Kay Bear, Jen More, I can never say her name. Jen J Rex Morgana. I can never say her name. So it's an all-female soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz is producing this with Gary Wolf from ECW. Susan Tex Green, who was the first openly gay female wrestler. She's producing this film. She also stars in it. She talks about a lot of stuff, like the time she beat Moolah in the ring and took her belt in real life. And of course, Vince tries to hide that, but she beat her in a shoot match because
what's the story about that?
Moolah slapped her in the face. And then Susan just put her in a hold and forced her to tap out.
Wow. And she really took her belt. She really took it.
Yeah, and you can look it up too. And then she had to, of course, vacate it because scripting wise, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But she did it, and she's the only one that I know that really did something like that, which is revolutionary. Of course, Vince doesn't want everyone to know, but it is historically, it's been acknowledged by him and a few others. But so yeah, that happened. That legitimately happened. So I think I was going to say, and Angel's in it too. Angel talks about her story. I mean, Angel is probably one of the best in-ring wrestlers that should have made it to like WWE, but didn't. And there's a reason why. And again, it's her reason has to do with, people try to manipulate people's lives and make it so that they can't move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Moshe from Empowered Fitness, she's been the producer of this ever since day one. And, she tells a story about, she had cancer that was in her face and competed as a bodybuilder, was a full-time mom, opened a gym during COVID, and is one of the number one gyms in Danvers, Massachusetts.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, she's in it, and, that's a really good, she also was a wrestler.
Yeah.
Not the extent of Jazz or whatever else, but she was in high school. She was the first female to compete in high school wrestling and at least in Exeter, but potentially the state of New Hampshire. So like legit wrestling. Yes, she had that background. Physique competitor, a champion, actually, NPC champion. So her story is interesting. So, I think it's going to be very positive. It may do well in the film festivals, I hope. Right. By the end of next year, we will be finished with probably 6 documentaries.
Wow.
There's a film right now that I star in that's been banned, actually, in
the
United States and Europe and pretty much everywhere else. So the film, and I star in it. I didn't direct it. But it's like the anti-film in a way. It's it breaks all the rules, and it's a film about making a film.
Film about making a film. Wow.
And it's called How to Make Fucked Up Films. It's directed by Bijou Viswanath. I'll send you the trailer.
Yeah, I definitely like to see that. I definitely like to see that there. Wow, that's crazy, man. If I remember, you did mention that on when you were on David's podcast there, but with the Circle of Champions, the history of women's pro wrestling, are you looking to release that here by next year?
It'll
next
be
couple years.
It's going to go to the film festival circuit first.
Okay.
And that's where we're going to see where it goes. We were given offers. WWE, I'm kind of wanted it, and they probably still do. Who knows? I'm not interested in selling anything to WWE.
Right.
I want to be just away from them as much as possible. And like, again, I praise Vince and whatever else, but I don't want to be in that world ever. Because there's no creative freedom. You can't do anything. You have to do everything their way. And, I'm fine with that. I mean, from a spectator's perspective with WWE, yeah, they're cool, but like, I would never work with them. I would never work for them either. Never. Yeah. And I can say that because, I don't have to, like, all these wrestlers, it's only one place you go, and that's WWE. I mean, legitimately. I mean, like everywhere else, yeah, you got NWA and stuff, but it's not like you're making like career on it.
Yeah, but there's options. There's options. I know how you feel about Cody, but when he left,
I don't hate him. I just don't think he's as big as he.
Right.
Like Omega's good. Like Kenny Omega's good, but he's not like huge. I mean, again, if he goes to Vince, he's probably going to be in a tag team, or he's probably going to be a mid-carder.
Yeah,
but
he probably
that's not a bad thing. You need people to be able to carry a match like that. But you wouldn't put either of them against like a giant dinosaur, like Roman Reigns or something, because they're just not.
Yeah, but
huge.
When he left, he proved and showed that he did succeed in his own way outside of that with the stuff he did with ROH, Bullet Club.
Yes.
That, I mean, what he did right there, he proved and showed that it's like you don't need WWE to, you make your own path. It's like if you decide to go there, then you can go there. You know,
and for that, I commend him. I think he is a very self-made individual, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But as a wrestler, just viewing him, I mean, he's good for ROH. He's good for AEW.
Right.
He's great for TNA. He's great for NWA. If you want to know my honest opinion, could he ever be a WWE heavyweight champion? No. It's
well, one of the stories was, remember when he was doing the Stardust gimmick?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, he wanted, after his father passed away, he wanted to drop the Stardust gimmick and go back to being Cody Rhodes. Apparently he got stuck in that, and that's when they were doing the draft split, like you go here on Raw, you're here on Raw, you guys here on SmackDown. He he basically pleaded or tried to convince them that let him drop the gimmick, and he got to the point where, you know what, let me wrestle on both Raw and SmackDown, but on Raw, I'll be Stardust, but on SmackDown, I'll be Cody Rhodes. They didn't want to do that because with Dusty passing, and if Cody would have dropped being Stardust and went back to Cody Rhodes, they didn't want nothing to stop that push, that Roman Reigns push. They were afraid he might get over their, them trying to push Roman. Remember they pushed Roman down everyone's throat for 4 years? It was during that time there. They didn't want no one to.
Honestly, even now, Roman sucks. I mean, it's just like
he's been thrown into that role, man.
Roman has this stupid face where he's just like, he's like serious looking. Can't cut a promo. He's not his cousin or whatever the hell The Rock is doing.
I gotta say, one of the best things. This is me. One of the best things, Christopher, was sticking a great mouthpiece like Paul Heyman next to him.
They need more.
Paul
wrestlers.
Heyman's a great mouthpiece, man.
And they need more wrestlers with managers.
Yeah, they like my favorite manager. I met him in person, and I've talked to him quite a bit when he was here in Daytona. Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, one of my favorite managers.
How many managers are out there right now in WWE?
I don't know. I don't watch WWE. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I know you're looking at me like,
none,
come on.
There's no man.
None?
There is none.
Yeah. I would say none.
I just think it's to the point where, well, that's the thing. There is none.
Right.
Yeah.
You're freezing up again. There you are.
It sucks.
Technology, don't you love it?
Fucking hate it. Today somebody, he's like a really good artist. He's like one of my favorite artists. They posted something about Joan Baez, and just to fuck with them, I said, who? He's like, look it up. And I'm like, that's why millennials can't learn, because you guys don't teach us things. I like messing with people, man. If you guys want to have a good time, call a bank and look for and prank phone call them and say, hey, I'm looking for Robin Banks. And look, if people get offended, tell them to move to Siberia too. That's my new thing, okay? Because you know what? We only live once here. Might as well tell all the jokes we can and laugh as much as we can, and
exactly. Humor.
Everyone's too what's the word?
Sensitive, uptight, butthurt, ass jackals. That's what I call them, ass jackals.
Yes,
my nephew, shout out to my nephew for coming up with that word. He came up with that word a few years ago on one of the early episodes of the Everett Lee show. he came up with it. It was just it was one of those moments where I didn't know what he was going to say, and he just came out with it, and I was like, I love it. I made a t-shirt of it. You can buy on the Everett Lee Show spreadshirt website, but I throw all that shit out there and no one bought one damn thing. I put creativity into these t-shirts. No one bought one damn thing, so I shut the shop down. Where I just quit promoting it.
I mean, I think
it's like social media. I use social media to promote what I do right here. I put out that I've tweeted out, I've posted tonight probably 2 or 3 times this episode. I could go on and change my profile picture, and I'll get I'll get all these likes, and I'm like, you can like and comment on my profile
that's
picture.
What happens. Like that's but
why don't you do that with my podcast?
They pop in. It's so stupid.
It is. Why don't you do that with my podcast? Why don't you like and share that instead of liking and when I changed my profile picture? That's what gets me. But
here's the thing too. Like the problem with there are bad podcasts out there, right?
Yeah.
And there's one jackass I can't stand. I'm not going to mention his name, but I hope to God he's watching because he may be older, but I'm going to be staying here longer. And I'm going to be pumping out a lot of good stuff. And what they do is they try to destroy people, okay?
Yeah.
And, I think people also get a little nervous about going on certain podcasts because you don't know because there's too many bad ones out there, okay?
There is.
So, again, in this individual who's out of the New York area, I'm not going to mention his name, and you know who I'm talking about, whoever you are listening in, I know he's watching me because he criticizes everything I do, blasts me without mentioning my name. He just talks shit. There's for every one good podcast, there's 6 that are questionable. And that's the reality of it. Like on Facebook and social media, it sucks.
It does. I can't stand it because
no, it's stupid.
Do you remember a time in your life when we didn't have this? It was life was so much easier
and stuff and have fun, and not go on little rants about whatever. And I hate it when these idiots take photos of what the fuck they eat and they're like, I'm having a me day today. I can't deal with life and stuff like that. Go to the fucking gym and do something. And don't go to these fucking Comic Cons.
Now,
dude, it smells like ass and grease paint over there. And then they're all pretending they're things that they're not. I mean, I guess if you're into that stuff, go ahead, go for it, and go to your Ren Fair crap things and whatever the heck else. Yeah. And if that makes you feel happy and normalizes yourself, fine. But then it turns into a fucking religion, and then they're trying to press you on it. And then, I went there once to one of these Comic Cons, and this lady dressed up as Vampirella.
Yeah. Vampirella.
And she has a corset on because I'm not trying to be mean, but most fat chicks did this thing where they put a corset on and they squeeze themselves into these things, make it look like their boobs are bigger when it's not. It's just extra fat being pumped to your face. And that's what it is. I mean, I got to lose a couple pounds here, but Jesus Christ, these people are fat. They need a wheelbarrow to walk around with their stomach all hanging out like that. Anyway, going back to this thing, this woman had the audacity to wear a Vampirella thing, and Vampirella is barely wearing any clothes. Okay.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. It was her legs were popping out and they're all hangy down skin and look like cottage cheese. And it's just ugh. And stand it.
Wow.
If Angel was here, she'd say, Christopher, stop saying those things. Horrible. It's horrible what you say. It's mean. You mean, Christopher, trying to be mean? That's why you don't have any friends.
Angel was a lot of fun when I popped in on David's podcast. She was a lot of fun to talk to. She was.
No, she's really nice. I enjoyed
she is. I enjoyed that because I was up front because I'm I'm not too familiar with your time in ECW. So I was pretty much upfront with that right there because David likes doing that, man. I got to rib David here for a minute. David likes pulling me in unexpectedly. I'll comment or like on his podcast. Hey, Everett, come join me. I'm like, shit. I'm like, yeah, I better do this. He has all these comments flying by and he's missing it because of this monitor. And I know he has a problem seeing the monitor. That's why David misses a lot of.
He's got some good compliments there, and I like his compliments.
Yeah, David's great. And I jump in there and, you know, I help him out, man. When he needs help, he'll holler at me, hey, I need help on something. I help him right there. When he was like, you know, having a hard time, you know, mentioning his social media and stuff at the end of his podcast, I'm like, why don't you just record it and just play it?
Yeah, just pre-record it, you know, to do it always.
Yeah. So
by the way, speaking of the cosplay stuff here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me describe this to the audio listeners. You're showing me a picture of someone in a white tank top with a yellow bandana on there.
So she's trying to be She-Ra but she's got it's like she looks nothing like She-Ra.
Okay.
She basically has all these like spray painted gold duct tape things. Look, there's a reason why they're not superheroes, okay?
Hey,
fuck.
She-Ra, I was a He-Man when I was growing up.
Look, I was a either of them fan, but the thing is this, and you have people dressing up them in cosplay uniforms and stuff, charging for autographs. By the way, shout out to anyone who does that. Fuck you, because you're not them.
Now,
stupid bastards.
Talking about Comic-Cons. Now,
go ahead.
I got to say this. A good friend of mine, he retired actually at the end of last year from working in the ring. He retired. He's done with it because of his knees. He's like, and his age.
Yeah, that's going to do it to you, man.
Yeah. So, really good friend of mine. I've known him for about going on 12 years now. So, he found out I was going to the Comic-Con a few years back. I think this was like 2016. So in 2016, he said he was going to go. So he calls. There's only one reason why he was going to it, to meet Adam West. He's a big Batman fan. He has Batman collectabilia. He has that stuff. He has some of the coolest shit I've seen for, you know, collecting Batman. So he wanted to meet the Batman to him. I mean, Adam West was the Batman, you know, because of his TV show, but he wanted to meet him. So I'm there running around with my nephew and a friend of mine that I knew that we met up there with, and we're running around with her, and we're just, checking out everything as we walk around and stuff. So he calls me. He's like, hey, you at MegaCon? I was like, yeah, because I was way over on the other side of the building, and he just came in on the other side. And he's like, I'm going to go see Adam West. I was like, all right. I was like, I'm over on this side. He's like, well, I'm going to be over here. I was like, all right. He's like, we'll run into each other. If not, then I'll holler at you tomorrow. I'm like, cool. So we get sidetracked. We end up heading back over that way. I didn't see him. So we got sidetracked. Time went by. So I was like, oh shit. I told my nephew, I was like, I gotta call Tom. So I called him up. I'm like, hey man, I was like, I'm over here. I don't see you. He's like, oh, I'm already home. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, he went in, went straight to Adam West, waited, got up there, talked to him for a bit, got his autograph, everything, and took a picture. That was it. He was in and out. He said he was only there for one reason: meet Adam West, get in, and get the hell out. He didn't care about anything else, and he did that. He did that, and he has his autograph there. It's up there with his Batman collectability. And I'm probably saying that wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, because I thought that Adam West was really cool, and see, but I mean that's the thing too. Like, if you're living your dream, that's cool. But like, if it's your like again, I'm looking at these people that are trying to be things that they're not, and then they like charge autographs, and they're like, like they're not the real person and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like these, they do this thing where they're putting like silicone, like here, like this one. Okay, like, no way that you're not helping.
Oh, wow. He's showing me right now. Christopher showed me a picture of a woman with dark hair. Looks like they're wearing almost barely anything with a red outfit with
it's
big
just
hips.
trying to be the Vampirilla thing. I was trying to see if there was some many bad ones, but basically she's got like kind of implants and she does the same one for the look. It's all
wow. That hips are.
This isn't attractive. It's just a lot of this isn't
Hey.
good for your body.
Yeah. Well, some people like that, man. Some of the the geekdom like that stuff. They like it.
I guess, but
Chris.
really think about it, man. Like, is that even helpful?
Well, it's not my thing, not your thing. It's someone's thing. There's something. There's
definitely
something
it's someone's thing. It's not ours, but it's someone's.
It's someone's. That's I know it. I get what you're.
It's just the stench over there too. To me, it's always smelled like. It just always smells like BO when you're there, and then like The other sad thing is you get some people that just. A lot of celebrities just don't want to be there. They're just like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah, some
and a lot of more
like it.
Like maybe like if they're like a little bit later on in their careers, they enjoy it, but then afterwards they're like, whatever. So
yeah. You mentioned the New England Music Hall of Fame. Tell me about that. Tell me, you told me a little bit, and I heard you talk a little bit about it.
Tell me a little bit
more about
Angel
that.
actually created that, and at the time we were trying to, and we still are, we're still kind of working on it here and there, is promote, preserve, educate, unite people in the New England area. Because there is no preservation of actual people that have actually legit made it in New England. Now, that being said, I'm telling you this. I'm going to tell you this before I get into it. There's a lot of guys that want to and I'll get emails. And to anyone who sends me an email to induct your friend's band and to induct, a cover band, fuck you. Okay? No. Doesn't work that way. Shut the fuck up. I'm not a president of an organization that's going to be PC on your ass. Okay? I'm going to be dead serious. Okay? These people who have legit fucking made it, who have toured and done everything they could and made it their career, or were at least pioneers. Those are the guys that deserve to be in it. Not your fucking friends who have an AC/DC tribute band. Fuck you. All right. So that being said, so now we're treating that as our production company for the films that we're doing, and it's looking really good. And our biggest thing is we're trying to push freedom of the arts. Artists should be free. They should do whatever they want. My biggest pet peeve were promoters were trying to control artists, and they still do to this day. Control how they think, control how they feel, all this other shit.
Yeah, my dog agrees with you right there.
Good. Because he probably knows half the people I deal with. I'll get emails from people. Fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. This jackass from the Wing Agency, he tries to bring in artists and then lie to them and tell them he's going to get them bookings, and they have to sign some sort of a contract stating, this and this. Yeah, Andy Morrison's his fucking name. All right, that asshole just, stop fucking playing God. First off, okay, these guys that get into promoting, this is what they are. I'll paint this picture for you. Usually they're in their 60s, maybe 50s. They've always liked music, or maybe they were partial musicians. They have some extra money because they're somewhat into retirement, whatever, and they want to pretend and play God and think that they're Mr. Music Promoter. Well, they're not. Because a real music promoter is somebody who wants to make money, and it's not in their own bizarre world. You do what's best for the fans, and you also do what's best for the musician.
Right.
So, like, if I was to promote, which I would never call myself a promoter because I'm not a promoter. Um, but if I was, I would try and find out what the fans want. I would try and find out what the musician wants and combine the two, because guess what? Then you'll have a great show. But there's all these assholes that want to play God, and there's one other jackass who I don't give a fuck if he finds out, or if he sends me he's going to sue me. You know, this jackass named Richard Douglas. Richard Douglas, when I was a kid, I would go to his shop. It was called Imagine, okay? And I would go there, and I would be a loyal customer. And then one day he made a nasty rumor about me. Now I was 18 at the time, and it devastated me. Then he treated me like shit. Then he had people like try to blackball me and stuff. And at the time, I was doing pro wrestling shows and stuff like that. And then when I made it, that motherfucker was all nicey nice to me, thinking we're friends. Well, guess what, Richard? We're not friends. And if you do that fake ass handshake, I'm going to slap you in the fucking face. I don't give a shit. And that's a shoot. I don't give a fuck anymore. Because honestly, my whole life, I've had to deal with assholes like this. You can't do it. Why? Because I said so, and I have more money than you. Ha ha ha, and I'm old. That's how they are. Because then you have to then one up them. And when you're at that position, which, I mean, am I in a position of power? Yes and no. But I'm never ever going to abuse my power. I'm never going to like take advantage of anyone. I'm never going to talk to people like as if they're shit. Because that's not how you do things. The people who set up the stage, you become friends with them. You treat them well. The people who set up the lights, the people who do the sound, those are the guys that matter. The people who, you know, are your roadies, your road crew, you know, your band, you treat them like humans.
Right.
I hate a majority of promoters.
Right.
And there's some promoters that are really, really good. But a majority of them are fucking evil, because they should never even be promoters, because they're usually wannabe musicians, wannabe wrestlers, or wannabe whatever else. There are very few people that I can say in this life that are great promoters. And I'll mention really good promoters a little bit later on, because I'm working with several of them that are visionaries that don't get the push that they deserve. Slick Wagner Brown is one of the finest wrestlers, trainers, coaches, visionaries on the independent scene right now. Absolutely. Spartan Championship Wrestling, the same thing. Those guys are great. Those guys are phenomenal. That's a family. They try and make their wrestlers better. Okay, they don't break them down. They don't try to destroy them. Okay, as far as music promoters go, Lefty Foster is the greatest music promoter. He's also a great singer, a songwriter. He was the co-founder of the Shabu Inn, which helped acts like AC/DC when they were doing their American tour and stuff, and Bonnie Raitt, and they had BB King there. They had Albert Collins. They had everyone. Now that dude I look up to more than anything, because he did things his way.
Right.
And when people told him no, he did it anyway, and he did it a different way. You know, Bruce John, another individual who is just a great person and a humanitarian. He does a lot for the Covenant Shelter, because they give back to the community, because they remember what that community needs. They not only need to be entertained, but they need help. And they always give back. All those guys I mentioned give back to the community. And that's what makes them great, because they're human beings and they're humanitarians. Anyone else? Okay, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are really good promoters. Okay, unfortunately, I have not bumped into many of them. Okay, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that are really good promoters. You know, the ones, you know, like the Wing Agency is horrible. Okay, anyone in Connecticut, and look, I don't care if he gets upset, owner of the Wing Agency, but like Andrew or whatever the fuck, whatever his name, Andy Morrison, you know, never trust him. Don't, you know, he had several female musicians that he bounded under contract, did not let them perform anywhere, and didn't get them bookings. And meanwhile, they're waiting and depending on this individual to get them bookings. But again, they can't get their own bookings because they signed a contract.
Right.
Sleazy bastard. All right, Andy Morrison, I hope you rot in fucking hell. Not even kidding you. You know, you got to be warned of those people because they will screw you over. Okay, I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for what I just said, but I don't care because the people that are good, people are good are great. You know, Slick Wagner Brown's phenomenal.
Right.
Okay, Spartan Championship Wrestling's phenomenal. Lefty Foster, phenomenal. You know, the Shabu Inn, anyone who works with the Shabu, they're phenomenal people, and they want the music to live. They want the wrestling to live. They want all this stuff to live. They want the arts to live.
Right.
Those are the people we should highlight more than anything. Not focus on these people that are negative. But, you know, wrestling and music are very similar. Film, kind of. A lot of bullshit artists out there. You know, you just got to be careful of them. But the ones that are real, the proof is in the pudding. Test of Strength Wrestling's phenomenal. Great wrestling. They have great angles. Great concepts. Great storylines. Same with Spartan Championship Wrestling. Okay, a little bit different, but it's still good. I mean, you still have great talent coming in and out of there. You know, we just interviewed Sumi Sakai for the women's wrestling documentary, and you know, it's great. The crew that I have, people like Ivana Sanchez, Steve Prescott, Kay Bear, Kathy Steele, um, Jen J Rex, you know, all these guys. I mean, they put in so much time and effort. And on the side, what they do, you know, like Kathy's a great drummer, endorsed drummer. Jen is a phenomenal singer. She's in several bands. She's in a Billy Joel tribute band called Stiletto, and she does it phenomenal. Does it better than anyone.
Right.
You know, like those people should get more of a push. You know, Kay Bear is a phenomenal guitarist. Can play any song on acoustic. Like she played Hotel California in all three parts and sing it on acoustic.
That's
a
amazing.
Genius right there. And she doesn't give a push. She doesn't get the push that she deserves. Sister Funk deserves a push. All these people deserve pushes, and they don't get pushes because you have people that are like your Andy Morrisons and like your wing agencies that stand in their way because they bullshit more and whatever else. And they do this and they do that. Honestly, like Sister Funk is probably my favorite band. Yeah, they're my favorite band to watch live. And they're out of Connecticut, and I can't speak any higher of anyone else. The professionalism is, I mean, a lot of bands are very professional, but visually and in my opinion, their musicianship, their harmonizing, they're just great musicians that know how to perform and entertain a crowd.
Right.
It's an all-female band, and they don't get the push they deserve. And it's unfair because this is how sexist this industry is, and it's because they're women, and that's what sucks about it. Because they're better. They're better than any man I've seen, any male group that I've seen. Sister Funk is absolutely. I can't speak any higher of that group. And if anyone has a chance to watch Sister Funk, please do. Um, uh, a lot of artists, there's a lot of wrestlers out there that deserve a bigger push than they ever got. Roxanne Athena was the first ever transgender pro wrestler, right? Way before Nyla, you know, and actually Nyla and her were best friends. And ironically, Nyla gets the push for AEW, but Roxy, who was the first transgender wrestler in America, didn't. Well, they're supposed to be friends. If I was your friend, I'd help get you a push too, huh?
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
like, and Roxy's the better wrestler, and that's probably why, because she's intimidated by Roxy. Roxy wrestles men, she wrestles women, she doesn't care. But Roxy's so good, she's at like Dynamite Kid level.
Right.
And she wrestles as Foxy Roxy, Broken Doll Roxy, but she's to the level of Dynamite Kid. That good.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And can work anyone and make them look good too, because that's what Dynamite was good at. He could give you a great match, tell a great story. can shoot a good promo, but just knowledgeable. She's like the Larry Bird of wrestling to me. She deserves more than she got, and she was trained by Jimmy Valiant, actually, or handsome. Oh, is it Boogie Woogie? Is it Jimmy Valiant or Johnny Valiant?
I think in Jimmy. For some
Jimmy
reason,
Valiant. Yeah, he was
Jimmy
in Virginia in his school.
Mm-hmm.
So he was trained by Jimmy Valiant, and they're close to this day. And if he respects you, then that means a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, this whole, I guess the purpose of this interview, I'm just trying to give the people that don't get a push, that deserve a push more than anything. Because you know what, I made it in the film to a certain extent, and I guess I'm making it a little bit more than I thought I would. And those people who, I wouldn't say these people really helped me, but they were there, and I would see their talent, and they would always kind of.
It's David trying to call me.
Oh,
David, I'm sorry. I got my Facebook open.
I wonder if he's mad at me. I don't know.
Yeah, he's calling. Hey, how was the show? I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of doing a podcast. That happened. Hey, I've had it like right before I get ready to go live. I get a phone call from someone I don't fucking expect, and they call me, and I'm like, hey, what you doing? You been on social media today? No? What's going on? It's like, I got a live show I'm doing.
Like, hey, I'm like, hi. What's up?
Yeah.
I'm working. What's that like? I'm working. Like, they do that with me too. Like, but you know,
yeah.
But no, I like Dave though. It was, just tell him hi.
Dave. Yeah, he's. I like David. He probably jumped out. He probably listened for a little bit, and he probably jumped out. Now he's probably thinking he's probably done with his podcast. Maybe I should call him. But I totally what you're saying about people who needs a push, who should get the push, that don't get the push. I agree with you. There's a lot of great, talented people out there that don't get that push, that deserves that push. I totally get it.
No, absolutely. And you know, they're always in fear of if they piss someone off.
Right.
Like, for instance, probably about 70% of the things that I've said on this podcast, and me calling pretty much everyone out, which I just pretty much did. And you're in luck. This is your pipe bomb here. Everett, this is the pipe bomb. I've never really done something like this before. But I just called out pretty much every asshole that's ever pretty much fucked me over, or anyone else. And you know, you should call these people out, because you shouldn't just like let them just get away with it and whatever else, just live their old life thinking, oh, I got him and I knew him. No, fuck you, Richard Douglas, and honestly, fuck you, like Andy Morrison, and your bullshit. Okay, your old asses try and fuck with people's young heads and whatever else, and it doesn't work anymore. There's fucking talent there that they take advantage of, and this is the issue. There's too many old guys that want to get in your head and see if they can get one more run with their shit career. And if anyone's listening that's younger, don't listen to people like that. Okay, if they're providing information for you that's helping you, okay, and there's no like in that they're trying to like get a secondary thing and there'd be your fucking manager and whatever else, then you're fine. But like if it turns into this whole thing where, hey, you know, I'll help you if you help me get a booking and whatever else. There's a lot of comedians out there that are phenomenal. Like, you know, dear friend of mine, Johnny Rotten. He's actually at Mohegan Sun in about 2 minutes. Yes, he's going to be at Mohegan Sun, and he's doing his comedy set. Phenomenal comedian. Perfect timing, impeccable timing. And, you know, there's Skip Daniels, Jeff Wade, those guys, Rodney Norman, genius comedians. And the problem with comedians is, you know, like Norm Macdonald was probably, how do I say it? There's no, like, you can't say like he's the funniest guy ever. You could say he was the most effective comedian I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because no matter what he said, is going to be a response.
Yeah, I enjoyed Norm Macdonald. He was one of my favorites. I enjoyed back in the early '90s when I watched Saturday Night Live, because I haven't watched it since forever. But when I watched it back then, when I was probably like like a freshman, sophomore in high school, I liked Norm Macdonald. I liked his humor. I got it. I liked it. He was great, man. I enjoyed his humor.
And him as a comedian, he didn't care. He had no.
Yeah.
And again, like before I got on your show today, I was watching a Norm Macdonald clip. That's probably why I don't care what I say anymore. I mean, obviously, I have to promote the things that I'm doing, supposedly. But
You
then
got
it
some
goes
good
to, well, why am I promoting it?
you got some good
Yes, I mean,
stuff, man.
it's to have conversation stuff, but like it's also like the the world of film is a nasty machine that just takes in anything and recycles it and turns it into whatever else and then craps it out again. That's exactly what film is, because you're constantly plugging your stuff, plugging whatever the fuck else, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, if you're a filmmaker and you just like making films, are you doing it for the award? I mean, if I want an award, let's go to the trophy shop and buy one. Fucking, like, what's the, like, why do we value these people's opinions so much?
Right.
Like, and that was the thing that we realized when me and Bijou were shooting How to Make Fucked Up Films. We realized we've been denied 55 film festivals. Usually his film festival ratio is very high. A lot of his films, he's a very accomplished director. And then we got denied these film festivals. And then we were like, the film's good. It's
Yeah.
probably. And it's not because I'm in it. It's like I have nothing to do with making the film great or not. The film's good because of the story. The film's good because of how it was shot. I'm just a small. I mean, I'm the lead, but I'm just a small piece of that puzzle. There's a lot more things that are into that. Okay,
Right.
and then more. I understand it more because me being more behind the camera. I understand what he had to do to make this thing work. Whereas like a lot of actors are like, "Oh, I'm starring in this film." And they don't take it serious either. They when they promote things on the, like, that's what I hate about actors. They go on shows and they're like, I'm here in a film. It's Batman 5, whatever. I play Batman. That's it. But the film's not getting pushed because we're going against society's grain.
Yeah.
We're not giving them sunshine and rainbows, and we're not giving them, I don't know, what they want. We're going against the grain. We're being truthful. We're telling the truth. We're explaining to you what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
There are fucking, this is reality. People get evicted. This happens, whatever else. And these assholes who run Hollywood, like the Harvey Weinsteins and shit, there's so many of them. Oh my God. And they're still there. They just have one. Okay. There's so many more. They play God all the time. Fuck. I dealt with one yesterday. Okay. or last week. They're fucking creep fuckers.
Yeah.
All right. And like, that's another thing that you deal with. You deal with these creepy fucks that like to play God with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you say something, they'll then try to retaliate somehow and make it so that you don't get work.
Yeah.
And I'm not mentioning his fucking name, but I eventually will. So I hope he fucking listens, because I don't, I'll fucking call out him as well, because honestly, that's how it is. That's the reality of it. The reason why I became a filmmaker is because some jackass named Reno Venturi treated me like shit and said, "You'll never work here again." True story. True fucking story. So I said, well, I can't be an actor again? Nope. And he made sure that I haven't acted in a film in Connecticut or New England since 2009.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have that power. And and it was a disagreement too. He had invested in something and I posted on Facebook, "Oh, I don't believe in this thing." So you're gonna deny somebody making money? You're gonna deny somebody eating a meal? That's how you do things? That's how they do it. His name's Reno Venturi. He's a scumbag, and he's out of the Actors Gym. And fuck, I don't give a shit if he sends me goddamn walking papers or whatever. He's trying to try to sue me. Go ahead, Reno. But the proof's in the pudding. You're the reason why I don't get to really work, because you've told everyone not to hire me. So I mean, right there, that is a reverse lawsuit, which is then punishable by a fucking couple $1,000 fine. So you go ahead and bring me to court. But frankly, he's already just destroyed my name, destroyed my reputation. So, but that's fine. I became a filmmaker. I became a better filmmaker than he was, and he ever will be.
Right.
Because this asshole went to film school. There's your repeater of the joke. Asshole went to film school, thought he was God. That's
Right. Well, Christopher, this has been great. This has been great talking with you again. Go ahead, plug away.
So we got Lollipop Gang coming up. It's starring Jeannie Bisson, Gary Wolf, Angel Orsini. We have Evan Ginsberg. He's in it. We have the history of women's professional wrestling, Circle of Champions. That includes, Wendy Richter, Chyna, you name it. Everyone's in it. I mean, Jazz, Susan Tex Green, everyone. Who else? What else we got here? I'm doing the ECW Pitbulls documentary with Gary Wolf. I got the New England Music Hall of Fame. That's running good. We're going to be doing some events soon. Looking pretty good. So, we have Icons of Wrestling, March 26th. We're going to be there. We're going to be starting a peace movement. We're going to have the All-Star Band there briefly. Michael Spinks is going to be there. Nikki Lee Moshe, NPC physique competitor, owner of Empowered Fitness, ex-wrestler. Let's see, what else? Angel Orsini, she's going to be there as well. Michael Spinks is an Olympic gold medalist. He's going to be there. So we're going to be good. Got Nemhoff news going on, whatever. Just want everyone to have a good time. Just enjoy life. And, shout out to all my fellow martial artists at Black Bear Dojo. Hope you're doing well. Very big honor to be associated with a lot of people. Uratesh Vedete Waller, John Waller from Connecticut Lyric Opera, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. Shout out to Rodney and Jazz. Keep up the great work. Just Mike Rand, the Mike Rand Show. Check out Jeannie Bisson's soaps and stuff. Looking really cool. Tatiana Davidoff, her and I, we were working on this peace movement that we're working through music. I think that's that's it.
All right. Nice. Thank you.
My favorite color is orange.
Thank you for coming on the podcast tonight. I appreciate it. And you can check out more Everett Lee show over on podbeam.com for the audio portion of this podcast. Social media, Everett Lee Show, Facebook, Everett Lee Show, Twitter at the Everett Lee, Instagram, Everett Lee, and YouTube, Everett Lee, and Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself, podcastcity.net, Facebook, Podcast City Network, Twitter at Podcast City Net. And that is it for the Everett Lee Show. We'll see you again next time for another new episode of the Everett Lee Show.